Allegedly. You think Bin Laden's still alive?
I don't know who Bin Laden is.
What do you mean you don't know who Bin Laden is?
Do you remember with Oswald in the Kennedy assassination, there were multiple Oswalds people spotted and had like seen different Oswalds. He was basically CIA, right? It was probably initially like naval intelligence because he came out of the Marines, or he was a Marine.
Yeah.
But he goes over to Russia. He defects to Russia. Goes to Russia, marries a Russian daughter of like a military man, like a general or something, comes back to the U.S. You don't think he's working for intelligence the entire time? And if he's not working for intelligence, he's being monitored by intelligence the entire time. And with Bin Laden, I feel like, he was CIA at some point between the 80s and 90s. Some people saw him as Tim Osman. You ever heard that name?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, they basically like people like Michael Reconstructudo, who was like a fascinating guy working with Intel. He went to prison for a while, but he met Tim Osman. And he's like, yeah, that was Osama bin Laden, but his CIA name was Osman. And he was like over here at different points working with, training, or let's say working with our Intel communities. So I don't know who Bin Laden is. I don't know if it's like what was killed was just one of the dummies or just some guy that they said was Bin Laden, but I think it's just an intelligence operation.
I always thought the story of him being dumped off the ship was very odd.
Yeah, let's kill the most like wanted guy in the world and dump his body so no one can actually identify it.
Yeah, all the answers I've been given to that question when I've asked it never seem to add up.
Then the story is that now people are circulating that he was actually being protected by the Iranians before he went to Pakistan, and it's one of those things where it's the boogeyman. Whenever the intel community wants to create a boogeyman, you need these type of things. Like ISIS or whatnot, right? And some of those guys were in our prisons, for example, right? Weren't some of those guys in our prisons during the Iraq War? Then they get released and they pop up.